What's up, pals and gals? It's your boy, the Wolf Gamer 25, and we are back. Yes, that's right, back for another riveting segment of Figure Friday. You know, that special time of the week where we spend some quality time together and basically nerd out over everything merchandise related, anything out there, regardless. You better believe that you're going to find it here when it comes down to it. Now, before the holiest moment, and of course the great merchandise, I would very much like to give you guys, the voluntary time to please, if you haven't already, do your boy a favor, get yourself something to eat, set yourself something to drink, snack or two if you want. Um, and as you know, because we here at the Wolfpack, we care. I mean, me personally, I care about each and every one of you guys, even if I've never met or seen any of you guys in person. You better believe that when you're in this wolf pack, you better believe we look out for each other and we care about one another. So please, do your boy a favor. Help yourself, huh? Don't worry, I'll be right here waiting. You better believe that we do have a very, very special showing tonight. So please, help yourself, huh? I'll be right here waiting, and we'll be waiting for that 3-minute marker. As you can see, I'm looking at this time right here. Even though I know that whenever the video uploads, it's going to be down here. But please, I'll be waiting. Then don't worry about me, folks. I got me something to drink, and I've already eaten. Exciting tonight. Okay. Oh man, I gotta stretch. Oh boy. Sorry. Work was a big one today. Also, I did notice one thing, folks. I just recently hit 59 subscribers, letting you know that I am actually one subscriber away from the big 6-0. And let me tell you, when I do hit it, that is going to be another huge milestone in my YouTube life. And I just want to appreciate and let you guys know that you guys are awesome, and I appreciate everything that you guys do and how you all just tell me I need to keep going, constantly pushing, and from the bottom of my heart, I thank you guys for joining the pack. And I do hope that you guys are handling quarantine. For those of you guys who are still under lockdown or not really able to go out as much as you like, I do hope that you're handling quarantine very well. And for those of you guys who are considered the essential workers, I do hope that you're out there killing it, and that you are earning that paycheck, even though in the face of great odds. Because as you know, you are awesome. You are essential. Okay, folks. Well, as you can see, we have officially hit the 3-minute marker. So why don't we just go ahead and get started, huh? So for today, I thought that we could take a trip back into the world of movies and television, but also gaming, a little bit of gaming, if you will. As tonight, we are introducing a new figure that I have procured, and a pair that was basically made for each other. Now, there is a reason why I say that. Make sure you keep that in mind, that I said made and I said each other. So, I thought that first up, we could go ahead and take a look. Oh no, my blanket here is it's collapsing behind me. I gotta fix that real quick, folks. One moment, please. You're killing me here, Smalls. Please, I need to be comfortable. But yeah, where were we? Oh yes. So as today, we are going to go ahead and get into the world of movies and television first. And it's actually going to introduce the figure, but this particular individual is coming straight out of one of the very well-known movie franchises that started way back in the year of 1984, I believe, if I remember right. I was reading up on it earlier today, but please, I didn't get the chance to fully get the story because I was working, and if I didn't get back on clock, my boss would have been mad at me. So, but yeah. But this particular individual, he's rather a determined, if you will, because even though he comes from a distant land, and it would basically would seem like he's in a new era, but at the same time, he's also accustomed to the old era. Now, there's a reason for that, because He's actually sent from that distant land on a secret mission. And what is the mission, you ask? Well, nothing much. Just to, kill the leader of kill the mother of the leader who basically leads the resistance in the ever-changing war against the machines in the year 2029. You still stumped? Well, maybe maybe if I let you know who this particular person is, of course, who he is. Sorry. Um, Now, while it's true, he has made a great many movies, great many film careers. This particular individual, this was one of the movies that helped him blaze a trail as a movie star, and at the same time become more recognizable. Now, please help me introduce the newest figure to join the wolf pack, Arnold. I'm just playing, folks. I'm just playing. That's right, folks. It's the Terminator. Now, what makes this one so different, you ask, is the fact that it's the first Terminator from the first Terminator film that was set back in the 1980s. That's right, folks. Bam. Now, I know what you're thinking, but didn't you already introduce Terminator back in one of your previous streams? Well, yes, it's true, actually. But if you remember right, that one I had introduced was from the second Terminator film. This one is actually from the first Terminator film. And I gotta tell you, he looks awesome. So why don't we just get him out of there? Oh no. There's child safety tape on this freaking thing. But luckily, I find ways around that. Now, as I said, this is actually the first model of the Terminator that was manufactured by the enemy team, basically called Skynet. Now, Skynet basically it started out as a computer system, but the thing that made it different was the fact that it became self-aware. Now, in doing so, it was that it became self-aware. It saw the world around it. However, it only saw one ultimate threat, and the ultimate threat, of course, the humans. Of course, the human race. Now, whenever, of course, it made the action to consider humans basically non-essential or just an all-around threat to the plan that it had calculated in a basic microsecond, the rules of the plane had the rules of the computer system had devised the ultimate plan. Now, in doing so, it started out in a military computer system, and in doing so, it was able to hack in and get into anything that it wanted to. It sought out, records, places, faces, of course, of the coming apocalypse, and of course, in doing so, it was able to track down as I said, the mother of the leader of the resistance who fights against the machines, Sarah Connor. Let me just see if I can't get him. Oh no, he's held down by elastic. Folks, I'm gonna have to disappear for just 1 second because I actually forgot the one thing that's really gonna help me introduce the figures tonight. Let me get that real quick. One moment. Make sure y'all ain't looking because I got other stuff in here. Oh, okay, there it is. Woo! Okay, here we go. One thing I forgot was this. Because this way it actually helps me to understand and actually help cut the ties that bind when it comes down to... I am so sorry for the noise, folks. Here he is. There he is, folks. Arnold. I don't know why he's got such an angry look on his face. I mean, heck, I figured he'd be happy to be here. Let me see here. Maybe if I do this and this. Because I've been looking at tricks when it comes down to trying to focus on the main thing, of course. Which, of course, in doing so, is working terribly for my favor right now. I don't know why it's doing that. But, yeah. As you can see, he's rocking the look, of course, which he kind of borrowed from some unfortunate fellows he met in the nighttime. Of course, it being, being the year it was made, of course, in the 1980s, he had to quickly find a outfit that sort of suited his needs and helped him blend in. And in doing so, he was basically able to infiltrate, find out what he needed to. However, he came back, kind of a little frazzled because as he came from the year 2029, it's just he was set out to find what he thought was only the one Sarah Connor. He actually found and tracked down each and every Sarah Connor that he thought was his target, and well, he basically did what he did best. He terminated, with extreme prejudice and no mercy. He is he's an extreme um, he's basically an assassin type cyborg. He's ruthless. He'll do anything and everything in his power to get to his target, and he won't stop. He doesn't sleep. He doesn't eat. Um, and the fact that he's so just determined is one of the many factors that helped me to come to love the films, because I mean, yes, it's true. Some of them, I won't lie, they did kind of veer off and kind of threw me into a loop. But in the way, this one is one of the many ones that I can always look back on and be happy that I watched. Okay, why don't we just introduce some of the things here? Because as you well know, he did come with a few accessories here. Now, this is actually just for those of you guys who've kind of forgotten, because I know that some of you guys watched the movie, and I know some of you guys haven't really seen it. The Terminator is basically a cyborg assassin sent back to kill the main target, aka Sarah Connor. Now, if he succeeds in killing her, then the coming future or the apocalypse, it wouldn't change, and the machines would basically run the world in, of course, achieving their ultimate goal. Now, one thing that I liked about the film is the fact that Terminator, being that he is as an assassin, he is one thing. He was always combat savvy when it comes down to weapons, because that was one of his specialties. Let's see, why don't we just take a look at those weapons, huh? No, I'll introduce them one by one. So, excuse me. And of course, the first one, the standard pump-action shotgun, which of course he used on a poor shop owner who didn't really see it coming until it was too late. And of course, his other weapon of choice was the Uzi 9mm. Rapid-fire weapon, but at the same time, short bursts also come in handy. And of course, this one was my favorite, mainly because... First two, three. It's true. Terminator 3, it was acceptable. And I mean, it's just, like I said, everything after that, it kind of took a spin in a different direction. And I'm not going to say I was disappointed. It's just, I wasn't very happy with it. But, oh yeah, this one. This one is the newest weapon he was able to procure. It's a 45 long slide with a laser sight. No, don't. I'm not going to shoot. Don't worry. Come on, focus. There we go. And this was one of the, as I said, the newer model weapons, which of course was introduced during that time as a first, because around that time it was still pretty basic when it comes down to weaponry. But however, in doing so, they did their best to get their hands on new weapons. But the part that was funny in the film is the fact that when he was talking to the shop owner of the guns, he actually mentioned one that it kind of made me laugh, because he was also looking for a phased plasma rifle and a 40-watt range. And of course, in doing so, I was like, wait, they sell those at gun stores? I was like, wow, especially in that time, huh? Oh yes, he does come with two interchangeable heads. Oh, that's actually cool. They actually gave him the short flat top in this one. Come on, focus. There you go. And of course, this one. This is I like to call the battle damaged face. That's basically because what it is. Because the reason that he's damaged like that is because that was when he was involved in that car chase between Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese. Now, who's Kyle Reese, you ask? I mean, I could tell you guys a little bit about him, but I don't want to spoil anything for those of you guys who have not seen the film. Kyle Reese is basically in the same boat as the Terminator. He's sent back in time to assist Sarah Connor, and of course, wanting to basically help her to fulfill her potential and her future, which of course is to be, which is basically to give birth to the leader of the Resistance, John Connor. But in doing so, they run into a slight complication. Enter the Terminator. Okay, what else? Oh, yeah. There's also another cool part that they added onto him, which is also, goodness, get out of there. Oh, wait, it's got elastic on it. Why would they have elastic on this thing? They could have just put the plastic on there, you know? There we go. Another piece of the battle damaged skin. As you can see, of course, whenever it focuses, this right here is one of his arms, which of course was basically a peek into the underbelly of what he really is. Whereas even him being a Cyberdyne Model 101 as an efficient killer of a machine with a powerful metal endoskeleton, of course, over an external layer of living human tissue that allowed him to, as I said, blend in order to complete his mission with is the fact that it basically shows us what his, whole inner prowess, inner body looks like underneath that false face of his, And in doing so, why he's got his finger up like that is because that is what helps the metal joints basically let him know what is damaged and how he can fix it. Put that there. He does come also with another interchangeable hand, which I'm guessing is, of course, just another one to grip one of the guns that he got. He did come with 2 pairs of surgical scissors, which, of course, he didn't come with the scalpel, which, of course, that helped him, and, of course, to let us see what was basically underneath him. But that's okay. Honestly, I'm blown away by this figure because, as you say, he's rocking... I didn't even notice it right there, but the chain is actually loose. And that's actually real metal on there. That's pretty cool. I ain't gonna lie. Let me give you guys one last look at it. Maybe my camera will focus. Come on. Come on, camera. You're killing me here. That is really weird. I don't understand that. Oh, there he is. Oh, sorry. I thought I was trying to impersonate him. I'm sorry. But yeah, let me just move this on. Okay. And the little history about this one. The movie, as I said, first released in the 1984 era as an American science fiction film. And it was directed by one of my very favorite actors, James Cameron. And he's made a lot of very well-known films. Sorry, made a lot of very well-known films. One of my favorites that he made was actually Avatar. Now, I'm not talking about The Last Airbender. I did watch that show, and I don't know. I might have kind of blown through it too fast because I was actually able to binge all 3 seasons in 3 days. Which, of course, I feel bad because I should have slowed down, but I couldn't help it. Every episode that I watched, I felt like I was back in my childhood. And I saw Aang, and then I saw Katara, and then I saw Zuko, and then Sokka and Toph. I'm like, oh, I need to quit. I'm spiraling off into another dimension. I need to quit that. But of course, it has an all-star studded cast. Of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, and of course Michael Biehn. And of course, Michael Biehn played Kyle Reese. Oh, dang, that is real good. Let me get a swig here. Oh, boy. Let me pick up all this trash. And put you right there. Okay, so next up, we're going to go ahead and shift gears, folks, as we we're going to head back into the world of, we're going to kind of be doing a 360 into a 180 because we're shifting gears, heading back into the world of movies and television, but doing a little bit of a 180 by actually going into the world of gaming. Now, why I say that is because we're actually going to be talking about both a movie franchise and a game franchise that are basically kind of one and the same. Oh my god, I'm out of focus. Stop. Okay. Now, while I said in the beginning, we're going to be introducing a pair that is basically made for each other. There's a very specific reason why I said that. Because I'm introducing a couple pieces of merchandise that I did procure. And now, while the two have, they're very pretty to look at, they actually do have very rare value rates, but at the same time, they actually have kind of a positive and negative effect on what happens to them. Now, while the two are deadly, while the two has a deadly side, the other has the cure, of course, that you're seeking. Now, I have to be gentle because I mean, what I'm about to introduce it's a biohazard. It's I have to handle it with care because it contains something that's very viral, and it of course. Whew, if anything should happen, hey, honestly, it can be very radioactive and it might kill. So, please, folks, that's right, help me welcome the very well known and very dangerous T virus and the antivirus. Now, don't worry. As I said, they're in this shatterproof container, and of course, I have kept them safe ever since they got here. And there's absolutely nothing to worry about because my hands are steady enough. Wait, are they? It'll work. The T-virus and the antivirus, they're safety in my grasp, and I promise I will not drop them because I really don't want to cause an outbreak or even add to what's going on with this whole COVID-19 thing, because I really think that a biohazard and zombie apocalypse is a very bad idea. So, why don't we just slowly open it, slowly. Okay, right there, easy, okay. There they are, folks. They're very, very dangerous, but at the same time, beautiful to look at. Now, what they are basically is one of them. Now they're both man-made, so don't try to blame it on something else, okay? Now I'm gonna go ahead and very gently get this out because I do not want to drop. Okay, easy now, easy. Okay, I'll give you guys a look at it. There we go. Take a look at that. I ain't gonna lie, they are pretty to look at, isn't it? Now, as I said, this is the T virus, of course. The T virus is a man-made kind of a mutant progenitor virus strain that was developed by the Umbrella Corporation. Now, while it's true, most people know the Umbrella Corporation for developing, extremely and deadly viral weaponry. This right here was the biggest breakthrough. Now, the reason I say that is because this little thing right here caused a global pandemic that basically turned almost everybody into, you guessed it, a zombie. Now, I know, don't worry. I'm going to safely put it back in the container with steady hands, and I promise there's no reason for me to... It's okay. I got it. I'm going to put it back in there. Slowly and easily. Okay. Just go ahead and grab the cure here. There we go. And of course, the antivirus. I'll give you guys a look at that. See, these things, as I said, they are very pretty to look at. I'm actually thinking about, if nothing else, maybe somehow adding like an LED effect to it or something like that. Because I really feel like they would look better. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm blown away by the fact that these things are able to be in my possession right now. And I'm going to take extremely good care of them because while one can cause an extreme pandemic and possibly, the end of the world as we know it, the other is extremely valuable, and it's really going to be necessary when it comes down to it. It's just a pity that we can't use this on the whole COVID-19 thing because I really think it would just, come in handy, and it's precious, and I cannot gently into the container. Okay. Man, and I really thought my hands were steady. Now, some interesting facts about the pair. Let me just get it safely back into the containment unit. That way, we don't have to worry about exposure or risk it spreading. Let me put the safety latch back on there. Perfect. Stay. Okay. Now, as I said, this is a man-made virus. However, it did have cataclysmic effects. It originated in Africa, if you actually remember right. It's a different strain of a virus that originated into there. However, it was plucked from there and made its way to America, where in the distant city of Raccoon City was actually it came under the very first bad wave of the um, virus known as the T virus. Well, ironically, the T virus is actually called the tyrant virus. Now, um, the aim of the virus was basically to effectively eliminate the need for a large scale, kind of conventional army, if you will, and generate revenue to their eugenics program, which of course is also called the Wesker Project. Now, for those of you Resident Evil nerds, I'm sure you can guess who that is. Now, the effects, of course, are pretty self-explanatory. With such a virus, it's, at the Umbrella Corporation's disposal, it was basically actually impossible to control due to contagious tendencies to kill too many people too fast. But it would basically mutate the host's body. It would make them physically stronger. They would remain alive even due to like such ailments as kidney failure, diseases, and but also it would lead them to a murderous rage, and in doing so, an obsessive hunger to basically to the state of cannibalism, and in order to consume human flesh, basically zombies. I mean, if you want to get to the nitty gritty, I mean, this helped create a zombie apocalypse. Now, while the virus is a strain, it is also transferable by other means. Of course, those means are, basically injection, but also it's transferable by water, direct fluid transmission, or biting, scratching, or that's basically one of the many things that helped it spread so fast. Even though it started out in Raccoon City, it spread to the whole of the world and basically put it into a global pandemic. And that was one of the many mess ups, of course, the Umbrella Corporation failed to own up to, even though they were seeking a way out. But, they saw it as a blessing instead of a crisis. Now, the most well known focus of the virus, and of course, the name of the game was the Resident Evil game franchise, and of course, even the movies that they made, which of course star Mila Jovovich, if I remember right. Some say Jokovic, some say Vovovic. Jovovic. I'm sorry. I apologize if I butchered that name. Please forgive me. That are owned by both Capcom and the Constantine Film Company. In the films, it actually follows Mila, or Alice, as a character that was a former, security specialist and a covert op in Operation, who was basically battling the Umbrella Corporation and who brought the end of the world using their bioweapons to basically trigger an apocalypse. And in doing so, she was able to bring down many heavy hitters when it comes down to it. One of the many side effects, however, is that she was infected with the T virus. But here's the kicker. For those of you guys who didn't see the first film, her DNA was actually able to bond with the T virus, basically turning her into something else. But she didn't turn into like a ravenous zombie or even a biohazard weapon or a deadly monster that, of course, was roaming the streets of Raccoon City. They actually gave her enhanced strength, agility. She did have an uncanny, sort of know-how when it came down to weapons. I mean, and of course, she became an expert. She actually remembered who she was, so she was able to remember her combat training, hand to hand, whether it be weapons or, as I said, hand to hand. Boy, I think that's sweet. Boy. But also, we're gonna go ahead and shift into a second gear, and we're gonna head into another direction in the world of gaming. For those of you Mortal Kombat nerds out there, as you know, the Aftermath DLC dropped about 2 or 3 days ago, and I'm happy to say that I played the story, and I did conquer it, and I gotta tell you, it blew me away. And the fact that I've already played with all three of the fighters, you know, Shiva, Fujin, and RoboCop. I have been streaming them on my Twitch channel. You guys are more than welcome to watch the highlights if you will. I'm definitely going to keep streaming that game. I'm going to be submitting gameplay of each fighter when it comes down to it. I still need to get back in there with RoboCop because I didn't get a chance to do his character towers yesterday, and I do apologize about that, folks. And I just I've been so busy with work lately, and I'm so tired. But I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream right there. I do appreciate those of you guys who came to see me, and I do appreciate those of you guys who constantly push me and tell me to keep going. If you like, feel free to hit the follow button when it appears right there after the video uploads. And recent video or even that recent video when they upload. I do appreciate you guys once again for being on the Wolfpack. And until next time, guys, stay safe, stay awesome, stay weird, and stay yourselves, huh? Peace.